Faster than a speeding bullet. More powerful than a locomotive. Able to leap tall buildings at a single bound. Look, up in the sky. It's a bird. It's a plane. It's Superman. Kellogg's Pep. P-E-P, Pep. Kellogg's Pep, the Sunshine Cereal, presents
The Adventures of Superman. Today, Clark Kent continues his story of Superman's most unusual adventure and reveals how the Man of Steel almost came to an untimely end on the planet Utopia. In writing a feature story on Superman's most unusual adventure, Clark Kent recalled how the tremendous force of gravity on the planet Utopia held him fast to the ground when he went to Utopia to rescue Jimmy Olsen. Now, Kent continues with his story. Listen.
With Jimmy's life hanging in the balance, I took a desperate chance to gain time by resuming my disguise and, as Clark Kent, telling the astonished Regent Zaram that Superman had escaped. Suspicious, the crafty Zaram had Jimmy placed in my cell with me, then arranged for our guard to walk away. Naturally, then, Jimmy and I began to talk, neither one of us aware that the evil Regent was listening in on our conversation through a listening device that had completely escaped my notice.
My compliments, sire. Setting up this listening device was exceedingly clever of you.
I agree, Captain Teller. Now I expect we will learn how Superman escaped and where he hides.
It's out of earshot now, Mr. Kent.
Quietly speak.
So for the love of Mike, please tell me where Superman is and how you got here.
Well, you see, Jim, it's like this.
Yeah? Go on, I'm listening.
And so are we.
Yes, we are indeed, Captain.
You mean when he flew here with Poco?
Yes,
Just
I
as I
guess you
thought.
could say that.
You guess?
Well,
Gee whiz, what are you acting so mysterious about?
am I being mysterious?
Think you he
Sounds
suspects
mighty
the
like
listening
it to me.
device, sire?
I think not.
Sounds
Listen.
just as you always do when we talk about Superman and you.
Now you're imagining things.
No, I'm not. But skip it for now. Just tell me how Superman managed to get out of this cell. When the last time I saw him, he was stuck to the floor because of the pull of gravity.
Now it comes. Listen carefully,
Must I
Captain.
answer that, Jim?
Do you know the answer?
Well,
Don't play games with me, Mr. Kent. Do you or don't you know how Superman got out of here?
Peering at me with suspicion growing in his eyes, Jimmy had backed me into a very uncomfortable spot. I couldn't tell a deliberate lie. Yet the truth might prove embarrassing, even damaging to the secret of my true identity. So, still unaware that Zaram and the captain of his guards were listening in, I had to continue being evasive.
Look, Mr. Kent, I'm just worried about our chances of getting off this planet. So, well, I want to know if Superman is still here, or did he go back to Earth? That's all.
Answer him, stubborn earthling.
I'll tell you
This
this
I
much,
too
Jim.
must know.
Superman is still on Utopia.
He is?
You hear that, Teller?
Yes,
But don't let
sire.
anyone find that out.
Well, of course not. Where is he?
Well, that I can't tell you, except that he's not far from where we are right now.
Just what I wanted to know.
Has he licked this force of gravity on Utopia?
That's
Not
good to
yet.
know.
But I think he will soon now.
He's gotta lick it soon. Because I happen to know Zaram's planning to invade the Earth day after tomorrow.
You hear?
The day
Quiet,
after
you
tomorrow.
fool.
How do you know?
He told me. Superman's gotta stop him. Because he's got some terrific secret weapons.
Really?
Yeah, he showed me one of them.
What?
A little glass ball, no bigger than a marble, with some secret explosive inside it. He made me throw it at a big statue, and the statue broke into 1,000,000 pieces.
It did?
Uh-huh. Gosh, Mr. Kent, we've got to do something.
I'm not kidding. We've got to think fast and keep Zaram worried until Superman's strength comes back.
Zaram will not worry, my
Superman's strength
friend.
will come back?
Well, I'm sure of it. It's coming back very slowly now.
How are we going to keep Zaram worried? And about what?
About Superman, of course. We've got to make him believe Superman returned to Earth. While he thinks that, he won't dare try an invasion. Great Scott.
What's the matter?
Don't say a word, Jim.
But what?
Quiet, I said. There's a dictograph in this cell.
Sire, he's discovered the listening device.
Where?
Matters not now, Teller. I need it no more since I have learned what it is important for me to know.
But how could he possibly see it when it is embedded so deeply in the stone ceiling?
I believe I know. Yes, I'm quite sure I know. He is clever, the earthling called Kent. Not clever enough to fool Zaram.
Of course not, sire.
Captain Teller, I think I know where Superman is.
You know?
Yes, I believe I do. Have your men carry the Earthling Kent into the courtyard. I wish to conduct an experiment. A most interesting experiment.
Detail! Halt! Here is the Earthling Kent, sire.
What do you want with me, Zaram?
That you will soon learn. Now, Captain, command your men to set him down.
Set the prisoner down.
Now, order your men to line up against the courtyard walls, Captain.
Detail! Attention! Forward! Halt! Detail! Halt!
Earthling Kent. Or do you still prefer to call yourself John Smith?
It doesn't matter. What's in a name?
A great deal. If your name is what I think it is.
What are you getting at?
Just this. Young Earthling Olsen told you of a demonstration I permitted him to witness this evening, did he not?
What demonstration?
Come, you know very well. I heard him tell you how astounded he was when he saw a tiny glass sphere no larger than a marble destroy a great statue in my garden.
So what?
He told you, too, that the tiny sphere contained a powerful explosive. One of Utopia's secret weapons with which we shall conquer the Earth.
You mean you think you'll conquer the Earth?
I know I shall. And with Superman helpless here on Utopia, who can stop?
Who said Superman's on Utopia?
You said so yourself, Earthling, only a few minutes ago. Is it not so, Teller?
Yes, sire, it is so.
Oh, you heard me say that to Jim Olsen. You see, I knew that dictograph was in the ceiling of our cell all along, so I just said what I did to stall you along, to give Superman plenty of time to get back to Earth.
Superman travels with phenomenal speed, even faster than our space shells, is that not so?
Well...
Why, then, was it necessary for him to have, as you put it, plenty of time?
Why, he had to free himself from the force of gravity of your planet.
As you seek to do now?
Huh? What do you mean?
I see you struggling to lift your feet from the ground. Continue to try. It will avail you nothing. As it also avails Superman nothing.
Now, wait a minute.
Captain Teller, step back with me a few paces.
Yes, sire.
This will do. Now, you both observe what I hold in my hand.
The secret explosive. Be careful, sire. If you drop it, it will blow us all into eternal space.
I shall not drop it. Earthling Kent, this tiny sphere contains our deadly secret explosive. I intend to demonstrate it for you as I did for your friend, the Earthling Olsen. This time I will not hurl it at a statue of stone and metal. You, a living being, shall be my target.
With his face twisted into a hideous grimace, the evil Zaram held a deadly missile poised, ready to hurl at me, as I stood helplessly rooted to the ground by the terrific force of Utopia's gravity. If he threw it, and I was left unharmed, the secret of my true identity, which he suspected, would at last be revealed. What was I to do?
In just a moment, we'll return for the amazing climax in today's episode of Clark Kent's fascinating story. So keep listening. Now back to Clark Kent's narrative of Superman's most unusual adventure.
Obviously enjoying the show he was staging, Zaram, cruel regent of Utopia, held the deadly explosive missile poised to hurl at me as he called out,
Now then, I shall proceed with my experiment. Observe the Earthling well, Captain.
Wait! Don't throw that!
Silence. It's too late to stop now, Earthling Kent. Now then.
Hold, sire. What is that?
It's thunder, of course. Come out of my way.
Wait! That's not thunder! The sound comes from below.
Great space it does indeed, sire. The ground shakes beneath our feet.
You are right. What can it be?
You hear that, sire?
Yes, it's like a gigantic cracking. What means this?
I fear it means our planet is at last being shattered into eternal space, sire.
No, it cannot be. According to our scientists' reckoning, the day for that is not yet here.
He's right, Zaram. He's right.
Yes, it has come. The rumbling and the cracking. Utopia is breaking apart, sire. We're doomed.
Panic-stricken, Zeram and his guards stood rooted with fear as the great rending, rumbling roar rose to a crescendo and the ground shook and cracked under their feet. And I, too, still unable to move, stood helpless to save Jimmy and his friends. Utopia's doom, I was certain, meant Superman's doom, too.
What happened then? How does Superman, apparently helpless, manage to save his friends and himself? Tomorrow's episode in Clark Kent's story of Superman's most unusual adventure runs at a thrill-a-minute pace, so don't miss it, whatever you do. Be sure to tune in again tomorrow. Same time, same station.
And remember, for breakfast, it's Kellogg's Pep.
For excitement, the adventures of Superman.
Say, gang, do you know how crisp Kellogg's Rice Krispies are? So crisp they snap, crackle, and pop in milk. Sure, that's their song of crispiness. Means that these golden bubbles of oven-popped rice are crisp as crisp can be. Whenever you see those famous little elves snap, crackle, and pop in cartoons or on the Rice Krispies package, think of how light and delicate and crisp this grand breakfast dish is. Tomorrow morning, ask Mom for the one and only snap, crackle, and pop cereal, Kellogg's Rice Krispies. And be sure to be with us tomorrow for the thrilling adventures of Superman. Better remind Mom right now that you're in the market for plenty of Kellogg's Pep. That's how easy it is, you know. You don't send in any money, not even a box top. And you can't buy these prizes anywhere. But you get a comic button in every package of Pep you open. And you get some grand eating, too, because these whole wheat flakes are loaded with that sunny golden toasted flavor. Crisp and fresh and tasty as can be. A swell breakfast dish. That's the Sunshine Cereal Gang. P-E-P. Kellogg's Pep.
Now the adventures of Superman. As you know, Clark Kent has been assigned to write a feature story on Superman's most unusual adventure. Let's join him now as he continues to recall his experiences on the planet Utopia.
Unable to free myself from the terrific force of gravity on Utopia, I tried to stall Jimmy's execution by assuming the guise and garb of Clark Kent. And it seemed to work. But Zeram, wily regent of Utopia, tricked me by placing Jimmy in my cell and eavesdropping on our conversation. Apparently, Zeram heard enough to make him suspect that Kent and Superman were one and the same, and to prove his theory, had me brought out into the palace courtyard. There, he was about to hurl a powerful explosive at me when suddenly a deep rumbling sound rose and swelled as the ground trembled underfoot. Alarmed, Zeram's captain of the guards called out,
You hear that, sire?
Gigantic cracking. What means this?
I fear, sire.
Yes, speak.
I fear our planet is beginning to shatter and fall into eternal space.
It cannot be. My astrologer, my scientists, they said it would not happen until 5 days hence.
Well, here it is, like it or not.
What shall we do, sire? What shall we do?
Wait. The rumbling is diminishing. The ground shakes less.
Oh, but we'll grow worse again shortly, sire.
Then I must see my astrologer at once. I go to my council room. Fetch me my astrologer.
But what of this earthling Kent, sire?
Leave him here. Hurry! My astrologer! Well, speak up, Master Astrologer. What say you? Why does this rumbling and cracking come now, 5 days before your forecast?
Well, sire, it would appear I made a slight error in my calculations.
You hear that, Captain Teller? A slight error, he says.
I regret that, sire. But after all, I am but an astrologer. I can read the mysterious forces of nature, but I cannot control them.
Nor can you accurately read them, stupid dolt. Much wealth I gave you for your knowledge and advice. You agreed it was safe to begin my invasion of the Earth on the day after tomorrow. Now we are lost.
Now we cannot even save ourselves. We, sire, you and I must perish too.
No, Zeram. There is one way you can yet save yourselves and your warriors, and proceed with your invasion of the Earth as planned.
Tell me quickly.
Listen carefully, sire. As you see, it is now but a few lapsed revolutions beyond 9 o'clock. At exactly 11 o'clock occurs the moment in solar time in which your space shells can travel to the planet Earth.
What good is that? We shall be dead long before. Why, at any moment, Utopia will break apart.
Who says that, Captain Taylor?
2 of our men of science. They told me how 100 years ago, when the last disaster occurred, it struck within 1/2 hour after the first great rumbling and cracking.
Yeah, that is true. But this time I know definitely that disaster will not strike until between the hours of midnight and 1 o'clock of tomorrow morning.
You are certain of that?
I am quite certain, sire. I assure you that disaster will not strike until a good hour after you and your warriors depart for the Earth.
It is not true. It cannot be true.
I swear I speak truth.
You seek to deceive us.
Wait. Perhaps he does speak the truth.
But the scientists say...
They could be wrong and my master astrologer right.
I am right, sire.
There may still be time for me to proceed with my plans, to launch my warriors and my secret weapons in the waiting space shells.
I assure you there is yet time, sire.
Good. Captain Teller, give the order for my warriors to assemble at the space shells.
One moment. I have remembered something, sire.
What is that? Quickly, time flies.
Superman. If he has escaped to his home on Earth, he may foil our invasion.
I do not think he has escaped.
How can you know? Did he not disappear from the cell where we found the Earthling Clark Kent?
I say I do not think he has escaped. I would I had time to make sure by proceeding with my experiment on the Earthling Kent. However, we must take the chance. No time can now be lost. Give the order for my warriors, Captain.
At once, sire. But what of the two Earthlings, Kent and James Olsen? And of the traitorous Anthar and Poco?
I have a fine plan for them. A fine plan. Come, I shall disclose it to you on the way, and you shall have the pleasure of carrying it out.
Mr. Kent.
Easy, Jim.
Prisoners Anthar, Poco, James Olsen. Fall out beside the Earthling Clark Kent.
Gee whiz, Mr. Kent. What's going to happen to us now?
Don't worry. Everything will be all right. I hope.
Oh, friend Clark Kent, this can't be true. Just this morning I saw you.
In Metropolis, I know. But look, Poco, please trust me and don't ask any questions.
Oh, when I needed aid, you did your part. Now I'll do mine with all my heart.
Good. Oh, if I can just break loose.
Gee whiz, Mr. Kent. With you held down like this and Superman not here, I'm afraid it's all up with us. But good.
No, it's not all up yet, Jim. Not yet.
Silence, prisoners. Now hear me. By the orders of Regent Zoram, you will remain in this courtyard, from where you may witness the departure of our warriors to the Earth.
Huh? What's that?
I was afraid of that. Oh, if I could only get loose.
The departure of our space shells will take place at 11 o'clock. And the bright moonlight will afford you an excellent view of our takeoff.
Mr. Kent, you hear that? He says they're going to invade the Earth tonight.
Yes, I heard him.
Listen further, prisoners. Shortly after our departure, this planet is doomed to be shattered into eternal space. And you will be shattered with it.
What? Oh, no, it won't. Anthar said we had 5 days yet. Hey, Anthar! Anthar! Anthar, what are you shaking your head for? Why don't you say something?
Now, Anthar grieves in silent pain. He has no heart to speak again.
Mr. Kent, why don't you say something? Usually when we're in a bad spot, you think of something.
I can only think I've got to get loose in time to stop Zoram.
Well, how could you stop him, even if you could get loose?
I know a way.
You do? Well, what is it? Tell it to us. Maybe we can...
No, only I can... Wait! I'm gaining a little against this heavy gravity, but it's slow work.
Oh, dear.
Oh!
If only Superman could know how will our winds of fortune blow.
Not even Superman can help us now, Poco. The force of gravity would hold him down, too. Just like it does Mr. Kent.
No, this time I tell you, James, my friend, this is the dark and bitter end.
As the rumblings and grinding noises that signified Utopia's doom increased in intensity, I continued to strain and struggle against the force that held me rooted, helpless, almost willing to admit that this was indeed the end for Jimmy and for Superman.
In a moment, we'll return for a startling climax in today's episode of Clark Kent's story. So keep listening. Now, back to Clark Kent's exciting story of Superman's most unusual adventure.
Buildings toppled and mountains crumbled as the planet Utopia continued to disintegrate. And still the terrific force of gravity held me in its vice-like grip, while time grew shorter and shorter. Suddenly, the sound of a gong was heard from a point nearby, cutting clearly through the noise of destruction.
Poco, what do those gongs mean?
No, the time grows short. The hours have gone by. Within a few minutes, we shall die.
A few minutes?
Yes. Oh, endless sorrow. Oh, boundless woe. Our lives have but a few minutes to go.
Jeepers, Mr. Kent, what'll we do? What'll we do?
Oh, I'm afraid it's no use, Jim.
Oh, no.
I can't budge.
Mr. Kent, look. A big crack's opening in the ground near us. Mr. Kent! Mr. Kent! Poco, what happened to Mr. Kent?
Oh, one moment he was here. Then there was no trace. Well, I fear he's vanished into space.
Oh, no! Mr. Kent! Mr. Kent!
This is the end. Farewell, my friend.
Poco, I'm falling!
Faster and faster, with great grinding, shattering rumbles, the huge gash in Utopia's surface widened further and still further. Then as I hurtled into space, the bulk of the planet tore completely away, bearing Jimmy Olsen, Poco, and the now unconscious Anthar with it.
Don't fail to hear Clark Kent's thrilling climax of Superman's most unusual adventure and the beginning of a new and exciting story. Tune in again tomorrow. Same time, same station.
And remember, for breakfast, it's Kellogg's Pep.
For excitement, the adventures of Superman. And now, the adventures of Superman. While writing the story of Superman's most unusual adventure on assignment from editor Perry White, Clark Kent recalled his harrowing experiences on the planet Utopia. Listen now as Kent continues.
In all my life, no one ever came so close to discovering the secret of my true identity as did Zaram, cruel regent of Utopia. In fact, he was just on the verge of an experiment that would have confirmed his suspicions when the disintegration of the planet began. Immediately then, he ordered his army into waiting space shells and took off for an invasion of the Earth. Held helpless by the terrific force of gravity on Utopia, I was left to die with Jimmy and his friends Anthar and Poco. Then, one moment I was talking with Jimmy, a second later I disappeared from view as the ground opened under my feet and I plummeted down into darkness.
Mr. Kent! Mr. Kent! Poco, what happened to Mr... Holy smokes! The ground's cracking right under us. Look out, Poco! I'm falling! I'm falling!
As Jimmy and Poco fell into a yawning chasm, Utopia leaped clear of its orbit in the firmament and, like the finale of a holiday fireworks display, exploded into 1,000 pieces that zoomed through the heavens as if they were fireballs flung from a gigantic Roman cannon. Free at last of the tremendous force of gravity that had held me immobile, I fought my way through mountains of stone, steel, and the rubble of broken buildings in a frenzied effort to find Jimmy. Then, just as I was about ready to give up, I saw the tiny figures of Jimmy and Poco hurtling toward me. Blasting my way toward them through tons of flying debris, I gathered up their unconscious forms and, covering them with my cape, rocketed through into clear space. As I paused then for a moment to take breath and gather strength, Jimmy opened his eyes.
Where am I?
You're safe with me, Jim.
Superman!
That's right.
Oh, boy, am I glad... Holy smokes.
What's the matter, Jim?
Oh, Poco. Poor Poco.
Poco'll be okay. He's unconscious, but safe enough. Here, under my other arm.
Oh, jeepers, that's swell. I was Oh, golly.
Now what?
What happened to Mr. Kent and Anthar?
Don't worry about Kent. He's all right.
Gee whiz, how do you know?
Just take my word for it. Now, about Anthar, well...
He's gone?
I'm afraid so.
Poor guy.
It is a pity, Jim. But I'm sure he would have wanted to go that way, with his people.
I guess so.
Now, we've got to get back to Metropolis.
Yeah, but can you find your way back?
Maybe, but I'm not going to just trust my own sense of direction. I'm going to let Zaram show me the way home.
Zaram?
Right. He's leading his army in a fleet of space shells for what he thinks will be an invasion of Earth. Well, we'll let him lead us through space to the orbit of our planet. Then I'll take care of his boys before they get a chance to do any damage. Now, watch how fast we catch up with them. Away! Like an arrow shot from a giant bow, I streaked away in pursuit of Zaram's space shells. Soon I caught up with him, and still carrying Jimmy and Poco, I trailed the Regent and his army through the vast reaches of space. Then, with Earth in sight, I no longer needed their help to find my way, and rocketing by the Utopian Armada, I zoomed toward Metropolis. A few moments later, I landed on the roof of the Daily Planet. There we are. Daily Planet, last stop, all out.
Gee whiz, Superman, I don't know how to thank you.
Don't bother, Jim. Just see that Poco is taken care of. Now, I've got to...
but wait a minute. What about Mr. Kent?
Don't worry about Kent. He'll be along soon. Now, I've got to take care of Zaram and his bad boys before they get a chance to use their secret weapons here. So long, Jim.
So long, and good luck, Superman.
Thanks. Up, and away! Hurtling back up into the sky, I met Zaram's army just as his space fleet was entering the Earth's stratosphere. Gathering speed, I crashed into the spearhead of the V formation. The force of my impact causing the powerful explosives inside the lead space shell to shatter it into 1,000 pieces. As the others fell out of formation, I picked them off one by one, chasing them through the heavens until all 7 of the tremendous space shells bearing Zaram and his fighting force were wiped out of existence. Then, plenty tired, even for Superman, I returned to the Daily Planet, and resuming my guise and garb of Clark Kent, returned to write the story of of Superman's adventure. And so Poco, who, like Superman, was born on another planet, came to live on Earth. There, that does it.
Hiya, Mr. Kent.
Oh, hello, Beanie. Come on in.
Thanks. I'm sorry to interrupt you, Mr.
Well,
Kent.
that's all right. I was just going to yell for you anyhow.
You were?
Uh-huh. I want you to take the last pages of this story to the city room.
Gee whiz, what a coincidence.
Coincidence?
Yeah, that's what I'm here for.
Oh.
I mean, Mr. Burroughs sent me to see if you have any more copy because he's making up the Sunday magazine section and...
I see. Well, run along to Burroughs with this.
Okay.
I'll go in and tell the chief I've finished.
Oh, gee whiz. I wouldn't go into Mr. White's office if I were you.
Why? What's up?
I don't know, except he's hitting the ceiling. Something about Miss Lane.
Lois? What'd she do now?
Search me.
Well, I'll find out right now.
Disregarding Beanie's admonition, Clark Kent strides toward Perry White's office to find out why the editor is so furious with Lois Lane, unaware that what he is about to learn will lead him into a new and dangerous adventure as Superman. We'll be back in a moment for the suspenseful climax of today's episode, so keep listening. As we continue now, Clark Kent has just entered Perry White's office in time to hear the gray-haired editor shout into his telephone.
Miss Backrack, you call Wilson on the Morning Blade and tell him he can stop trying to steal my reporters. Tell him he can have Lois Lane on his payroll as of now because I'm through with her.
What?
You heard me. She's fired.
What's the matter with you, Chief?
That'll teach her not to disregard orders.
What happened?
When I say no, I mean no. I'm the boss around here.
Chief,
and I don't want a lead followed up. It's because my superior experience tells me it's a phony.
Sure, Chief, sure.
And neither Lois Lane nor you nor any other reporter working for me can disregard my orders and get away with it. Do you understand?
Oh, for the love of Mike, Chief, will you please calm down long enough to tell me what's going on? What order did Lois disregard? Where is she?
She's up in Canada. The North Fishing Banks, against my explicit orders to the contrary.
What in heaven's name is she doing up there?
Chasing a wild goose, that's what.
What do you mean?
Well, here's the story. You remember that crackpot correspondent we've got in Squeen Run?
Squeen Run? Oh, you mean Horatio F. for French Horn?
Yes, Horatio F. for Phooey Horn would be better. Or F for fish in this case.
Well, what about it?
Well, a few days ago he came to see me. All steamed up over what he thinks is a terrific yarn that's brewing up there in that fishing territory.
Uh-huh.
A cock and bull story that began stewing in his bird brain when a very rich man who lives in Squeen Run stopped getting his regular weekly shipments of a rare fish that he relishes for breakfast. Shipments that used to be flown in for him from the North Banks and then suddenly stopped.
Why?
Because the fishermen have stopped going out on their regular runs, and Horn thinks it's all tied up to something mysterious.
Well, maybe it is.
What? Great Caesar, don't tell me that you go for that, too.
I didn't say that, Chief. I only said maybe it is.
Chief, I mean, Mr.
Yes, what do you want?
Miss Backrack told me to give you this telegram. It's from Miss Lane, and she
From
thought...
Lois?
Yeah, Mr. Kent. Miss Backrack...
Never mind what she thought. Go on, beat it.
Yes, sir, Mr. White. Gee whiz.
Well, I'll be... Well, how do you like this for nerve?
What does she say, Chief?
Now, listen to this for sheer gall.
What?
Convinced Horatio Horn right again. Looks like real big story brewing here. I'm taking long chance to dig it up.
What does she mean by a long chance, I wonder?
Why, nothing. She's just being cute. Now, listen. If you don't hear from me within 24 hours, suggest you contact Superman.
Contact Superman?
Yes. How do you like that?
I don't like it at all, Chief. Sounds to me as if Lois is afraid of what she's walking into.
Clark Kent is right. Lois Lane doesn't know what she and the eccentric correspondent Horatio Horn are walking into. If she did, she'd be more than tempted to stop her investigation before she really begins. Monday, we begin a new Superman adventure that deals with deep mystery born of dark superstition on the stormy, fog-bound shores of the North Atlantic. So be sure not to miss a minute of it. And remember, if your community observes daylight time, starting next week, this program will be heard at the same hour. If you remain on standard time, it may be heard at a different hour. For exact broadcast time in your area, consult your local newspaper or mutual station.
And remember, for breakfast, it's Kellogg's Pep.
For excitement, the adventures of Superman.
Superman is a copyrighted feature appearing in Superman DC comic magazines and is brought to you Monday through Friday at this same time by Kellogg's Pep, the Sunshine Cereal. Say, gang, let me tell you about a breakfast cereal that's fun to listen to and fun to eat. It's Kellogg's Rice Krispies, the Snap, Crackle, and Pop cereal. Sure, you've seen those famous little elves snap, crackle, and pop around in cartoons and on the Rice Krispies package, and you know how they can dish out the crispiness of those golden bubbles of oven-popped rice. So freshly crisp, they snap, crackle, and pop when you pour on milk. Remind Mom to get you the one and only Snap, Crackle, and Pop cereal, Kellogg's Rice Krispies. And be sure to be with us on Monday for the thrilling adventures of Superman. This is the Mutual Broadcasting System.